Hey there, my friend, welcome. I'm Dr. Anthony Balduzzi, founder here at the Fit Father Project. In today's video, we're going to talk about an incredibly important topic, and that's high blood pressure. And what are some of the symptoms, what are some of the causes, and more importantly, if you know your blood pressure is a little high, what are some practical things that are research proven to help fix that? Because we need to realize that heart disease is the #1 killer of humans worldwide, period. There's not a single thing that kills more people than heart disease, and high blood pressure is one of the biggest risk factors for having a heart attack, a stroke. So it's really important for all of us, even if we feel like we're in good health right now, to understand this topic and some of the simple practical things we can do to keep our hearts healthy, to keep our family hearts healthy. You're going to learn a ton in this video. Let's dive on in.
FitFatherProject.com.
All right, so as I said, over 1 in 4 people here in the United States die from some kind of heart disease related condition every single year. And these numbers are just increasing dramatically. And to really understand why this happens and why it's such a risk factor for so many of us, we need to understand a little bit of the anatomy of the heart itself. And really, our heart's job is to just pump blood throughout our entire body. All of our really important organs and our vital tissues need blood. Our brain, our liver, our kidneys, our muscles. So our heart's job is to pump blood and make sure it circulates that entire system. So I want you to think of your heart almost as like a pump, like a bike pump, where every time it pumps, it shoots blood throughout the system, and then it pumps again and it shoots blood. So when we hear these blood pressure numbers, maybe you've heard of the terms systolic and diastolic. Those are the two numbers you might get when you get your blood pressure read at your doctor's office, something like 120/80, which is a normal blood pressure. The top number is called systolic, and what that is the pressure that is inside of your arteries as your heart is contracting and pumping. So that's the high end pressure. So if we took a bike pump and we pumped it and we pumped air through that hose, what's the top end pressure that we're experiencing? That's the systolic number. That's the high number. And then the diastolic number, that bottom number, is the number of the amount of pressure that exists in those arteries when the heart is relaxed. So we got the pump and then the relax. During the relaxed phase, it's called diastole of the heart, and that's that low number. So what we can really look at both these numbers is, well, we don't want them to be too high. Because imagine if we had both high pressure when the heart's pumping and high pressure when the heart is in a relaxed state. That's putting a ton of pressure on those precious arteries. And if we have turbulent blood flow and constant high pressure rushing through our arteries, well, it creates damage and it creates inflammation. And over time, that builds up plaque around those arteries as our body tries to reinforce that inflamed artery wall. And that's what gives these clogged arteries, and eventually that leads to a heart attack or a stroke. So that is really those numbers demystified in a nutshell, really important to understand. And here's a chart of some of the normal blood pressure ranges that you can see from the American Heart Association. You know, we really want to be in the 90/60 to 120/80. That's like what a good, normal, healthy blood pressure. And sadly, most of us are not in this range. We're either in pre-hypertension or hypertension 1, 2, and at the very high end of things, when your blood pressure gets dangerously high and the pressure in those arteries is so massive because the heart is stressed and those arteries are stressed, what ends up happening is we start to feel symptoms. We can get dizzy and lightheaded. We can faint. We can pass out. We can feel totally exhausted. We can have vision problems, hearing problems. And this is like when we're on the verge of having a heart attack or a stroke. This is malignant hypertension, and it's a medical emergency. So when I used to work in the clinic, when we would measure people's blood pressure and we see that kind of thing, that's immediate medical treatment, and then you're getting people to the hospital because they need to get immediate medical care. But most of us are just walking around with slightly elevated blood pressure. It's higher than it should be, but it's not always symptomatic. We just know that we could feel totally fine with high blood pressure, but that does not mean that damage is not happening all the time. Because again, remember, your body is like this series of tubes, and your heart's that pump. And if there's high pressure in those pumps, we're going to get damaged. So in the rest of the video, I want to kind of switch gears now that we understand the nature of blood pressure, and we know that we want it to be in those healthy lower ranges. What are some simple, practical, and research-proven things that you can look into doing for both your own health or your family's health that's really going to help you lower your blood pressure? Let's dive on into that right now. All right, so number one, the first best thing that you can do to lower your blood pressure is actually to lose some weight. So weight is very correlated with blood pressure. Most people who are carrying extra weight tend to have higher blood pressure as well. And that's because when the system, our bodies are just not functioning well, and we are carrying a lot of extra weight, well, that does put stress on our hearts as well. And when guys lose weight, their blood pressure tends to decrease. And we see this all the time with our thousands of clients here at the Fit Father Project on our 30-day program. As they lose weight, their blood pressure numbers come down 30, 40, 50, big dramatic decreases. And you can even see some of them here on the screen, what happens when you lose the weight. So we got to get some weight off you, and we got to get you to a healthy weight. And again, the best ways to do that, like we preach here at the Fit Father Project, are the fundamentals. One, we got to get you sleeping. If you're not sleeping at least 7 hours, your weight loss efforts with your diet and your exercise is simply not going to work. And missing sleep directly stresses your heart, leads to an increase in stress hormones, which increases your blood pressure. So sleep is the foundation of lowering your blood pressure and losing weight. And then we need to look at diet and exercise. Let's start with diet. We have to get you on a healthy eating plan. And this is a big topic, but it does not have to be hard and complicated. Here at the Fit Father Project, we created a free one-day weight loss meal plan for men over 40. Over 50,000 guys have already downloaded and are using this plan. And I recommend you check it out too. If you're at a point in your life where you know you want to be eating healthier, this simple meal plan is exactly what you need to start with. Because a healthy diet, cutting out some of those unprocessed foods, starting to eat the proper number of calories at the right times during the day is going to have a huge effect at both helping you lose weight and actually lowering that blood pressure, because there are certain foods, as I'm going to tell you in the final tip of this video, that actually directly lower blood pressure. They have special compounds in them that lower blood pressure. We're going to get to those in a second. So the sleep and the diet are huge, and exercise is also as well, because when we exercise and we get our heart pumping properly and we actually train our heart to be more efficient, what happens is our heart doesn't have to work so hard all the time. It's in better shape, so we can lower our heart rate. When you hear about some of these elite athletes, like those cyclists in the Tour de France, they have such low heart rates. They have heart rates of like 40 beats per minute because their heart is so efficient at pumping, and their blood pressure ends up being a lot lower. So if we do aerobic exercise and strength training, that's going to help lower our blood pressure. And again, we have to do this safely, and there's a proper way to do this. And here at the Fit Father Project, we put together our free 24-minute fat-burning workout for busy fathers, because if you're anything like us, you've been struggling to be consistent with exercise because you have a busy job, busy family, kids, responsibilities. So we got to find a way to do simple and time-efficient workouts. And we put that together. It's a free video. We'll send it straight to your email. Definitely check that resource out as well. Now, the next thing, once we have the sleep, the diet, and the exercise, is we need to look at stress. Because stress directly raises our blood pressure. So let's say you and I are totally relaxed right now, we're having this nice conversation, and then we find out that one of your kids got in a car accident. God forbid, knock on wood, not gonna happen. But if that happened, your blood pressure would shoot through the roof immediately. Because these stress hormones that get released directly act on the heart to increase our blood pressure. And what happens is so many of us live a lifestyle of low levels of high stress. It's honestly constant stress from our jobs, from our families, from our work, etc. And so if we don't learn how to, one, identify our sources of stress, find de-stressing outlets, and treat the root cause of those sources, we're going to constantly be taxing our heart. And I recently did a lecture on longevity and what we can learn from the people who are living consistently over 100. And one of the main things that all the cultures around the world who have the highest percentage of centenarians, people who live over 100, is they have reliable stress outlets. And they have a strong sense of family support and community. This directly affects our heart health. Being around good people, de-stressing through exercise and sleep directly lowers our blood pressure. It is powerful, so we can't overlook stress. Now, the next thing we have to talk about, and it's probably the highest correlated habit with both strokes, heart attacks, and all the problems with your heart, is smoking. Nothing will raise your blood pressure faster and damage your heart more than smoking. Smoking will lead to plaques in your arteries, it wrinkles your skin, it stresses out your heart directly. So if you have a nicotine habit in your life, particularly smoking, but also around cigars, chewing, other kinds of nicotine gum, this stuff does stress your heart. It is the most linked thing to cardiovascular events in terms of habits. So it's something that is really important to look at. And the final thing that we actually can do to help, besides all those other foundational things, is some supplements and foods. There are legitimate supplements that help and are research proven to lower blood pressure. The first one that a lot of people don't actually know about is hibiscus tea. It's this beautiful red looking tea, and this, fun fact, this was actually the tea that was most prized by the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. They used to love this stuff. And this particular tea is rich in polyphenols, which are special plant compounds that actually lower your blood pressure. Hibiscus tea is amazing. So a really simple habit is you can go out and go to Amazon.com. We'll probably have some links in the article below associated with this video where you can check out some hibiscus tea, get some, brew it. I do it, my family does it. It keeps our hearts healthy. Other good things are garlic. Garlic is research proven to both improve your cholesterol levels and to improve your blood pressure. Just totally great for your heart health. So in general, you can include garlic with some of your cooking, but there are also direct garlic supplements, or if you're like, man, I know my blood pressure is high, that's something you can research and check out. Those garlic supplements are available. And another great superfood for heart health is beets. Again, all these red things are great for our hearts, the beets. And it's just a good way to remember the red thing's good for the heart. It's just a good mnemonic, if you will. But beets are amazing because they contain natural compounds that dilate your arteries. These nitric oxide producing compounds that lowers your blood pressure, increases those arteries, and relaxes the amount of pressure that's going through them. So including beets in your diet, great. So for lunch, include some beets in that salad. Really great for your heart health. You can even throw a couple cloves of garlic in there too with some extra virgin olive oil. I mean, those are amazing things for your heart. So I hope this video helped you. I know it was a lot. We went through a big journey with the information. We got to learn a little bit about what the heart is, why it does what it does, and what blood pressure is really, and why it's so important for us to control. And then we looked at some simple and practical habits. And again, information is great. I love teaching. This is why we do what we do here at the Fit Father Project in our team. But action is what's going to be best for you to actually take this information and apply it into your life and start seeing results. That's why we put together that free one-day meal plan and that free 24-minute workout. Whatever one of those resources that you feel most called to, definitely check those out. You'll enter your email, me and my team will send it directly to you, and you can dive right in. And again, the meal plan's 100% free. We run you through the whole day of healthy eating, and you can incorporate the foods we just talked about, the hibiscus tea, the garlic, and the beets right into that meal plan. It's amazing. Guys are losing tons of weight just using that alone. Then we have that free 24-minute workout. All you need is about 5-10 feet of floor space and a pair of dumbbells. It's that simple. So check out those resources. I'm glad you're here and you found the Fit Father Project. Definitely subscribe to our blog. We have tons more great content just like this. And I'm happy you're here, my friend. I'm wishing you and your family great, amazing heart health for life. We're here in your corner to help you out. So check out those resources, and I'll see you in our future videos.